It says we're now live. Let's hop on over here. Let's see this. Can you teach me to internet? Cool. It appears that we're live. And then too, if I remember right, there's going to be kind of like a delay. Now. And then too, if I remember right, shush. Here we go. All right, so that's kind of all I got right here. Like I said, it looks like we're live. Share the video. So I don't know where is Brandon. Is Brandon at the gym right now?
No, he just left.
Oh, dang. Juliet, are you still here? Just see if she can send a question and see where it pops up or a comment or something. Yeah, do you want to see if you can see this online? Oh yeah, you can't, can you? Okay. Oh, cool. Well, let's just do this. Like I said, ooh, okay. Someone joined something. Like I said, why don't we just, Calin, why don't you just get started with your story? Like I said, kind of actually introduction. So this is our, if you can't tell, this is our first time doing any sort of a Facebook Live or anything like that. So James Taylor, Aspire Chiropractic. Sharing the screen with me here is Calin. She works with me. She is also a certified CrossFit coach. She has her own gym, CrossFit Beardown, in the Alliance area up in Keller, Texas. And we've got, because of Corona, a whole lot of free time on our hands now. So what should we do? Let's learn a new skill. Let's learn how to meal prep, right? Let's learn how to cook right so we're not spending this time sitting at home, getting bigger, getting out of shape, all that kind of stuff. And I couldn't really think of anybody better to do this with than Calin here. Kind of our, I don't know if you've been seeing our posts, our nutrition ninja, if you will. She's not only a gym owner, not only a CrossFit coach, she's also got her own line of nutrition and meal planning to help not only her clients, she's helping people here at the office. So, Calin, take it away. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I've been with Dr. Taylor for 3 years. In September, I think it'll be 3 years. I dabbled in a lot of stuff. When I graduated from college, I played college softball. I thought I was going to do PT or do something like that. Tried to fly airplanes, tried to do a lot of things. Nothing really made me happy like the gym did. When I graduated, I joined a CrossFit gym, I think within the same week of graduating. Fell in love, started really trying to get more focused in on it.
Fell in love with the gym?
Yeah, always kind of been athletic. Softball didn't really do anything for me physique-wise. Or like, people say like, oh, you play sports, you must be fit. No. That's not, I don't think that's a thing. Depending on your program, I don't think that's a thing. This is like the most in shape I've ever been, the most health conscious I've ever been. In college, I didn't really drink a whole lot. Everyone kind of has their spurts, but I never really drank. I didn't really go out to eat a lot. I didn't eat like bad foods, but I was definitely that person that on the weekend would eat a whole pizza by myself or have a ton of candy. Like candy was my thing, as I always ate just bags of candy all the time. But the rest of my diet was good enough to where it didn't make me just like obese. But as I started to lift more and get more into CrossFit, I was like, man, I'm only like as good as I could get right now. Like I can't get any more in shape. Like I can't really do anything else because my diet's not bad, but it's not great. And then I finally bit the bullet and started working against gravity 2 years ago. And that was where I got a macro coach, like a nutrition coach, somebody to help me dial in on my goals and like what I really wanted. Didn't really see a huge difference in the first month. It's like a lot of money up front. So I was like, I'm not going to see anything. It's not that great. 1 month in, every check-in said, hey coach, like, here's my numbers. I don't see any change. I don't think this is working. Month 2, same thing. Still, we're like $500 into this whole process. And I'm like, I don't really see anything, but okay. She's like, just trust me. It's going to happen. It's going to hit. Like, it's just going to hit you one day. We tried adding in some things. Like, I was still eating my candy, but I was trying to find ways to keep it included and make it fit and all that stuff. And I was like, she's like, I'm wasting a lot of calories. One day I realized I'm wasting a lot of my carbs and a lot of my stuff, just eating all this sugar still, like processed sugars. Not that it has to be candy for anybody or like chips or whatever. And then one day, like in my check-in, I was like, hey, I'm just going to cut this out. It was like probably month 4 or 5 when I finally decided to quit trying to make it fit because I knew it wasn't good for me. And I just suddenly like dropped all this weight, like not all this body fat necessarily, but like all this like water weight and stuff that I was carrying from the sugar. And then I was like, oh, so this is what it's like. Everything I'm eating, she just kept telling me, you're eating really good. Like if you want to keep this in there, you can. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to take you a lot longer to get to your goals. And then I finally, literally it was like, I think it was my 6-month mark. It was like, oh, this is way easier now. I wasn't like fighting my own body, trying to get where I wanted to be. So then after that point, when I just cut it out and I found other things to fill it with that were not as bad or that weren't as self-sabotaging, I guess, then everything was working so much better. My lifts went up, my body weight was going down, my composition was really starting to change. So I started to really see the benefits of it. And then I was like, okay, I'll keep paying this. It's really expensive, I think. But when I started to fully buy into it, I hit all these PRs. I hit all these goals I wanted. People were always like, oh my gosh, what do you do? What do you do? And, you finally got to say like, oh, I do this because it's working and everyone's noticing. And it's not just me because you see yourself every day and you don't see the big difference it makes. They do.
Well, here, let's do this. Let's kind of go back. One of the things that we've been promoting this as it is a where to start, right? Because that's the biggest hurdle for most people is I don't know how to begin this whole thing. So taking it down to like the basic level, you said a couple of things here. You kept talking about making it fit. What does that mean? What do you mean you wanted to make the candy fit?
Because you want to create a lifestyle that you can adhere to, and it doesn't mean that you can't have whatever it is. It's going to take you a lot longer to get to whatever your goal is. Like if your goal is to lose 50 pounds and you're somebody who can lose like 50 pounds of water weight, body fat, and like actually lose that, like I don't have 50 pounds to lose unless I get rid of muscle and stuff. So like if you're somebody who wants to lose 50 pounds and you're a chronic soda drinker, don't cut out sodas completely because you won't stick to that. Like that's been your advice for a really long time. So create a goal of I'm going to drink this many and then taper down to it. If that's what if you want to keep it so badly, keep it, have one, or find something along the way that you can switch it out for, a diet soda, Zevias, anything else. But you can make it fit. So like if you're supposed to be eating no processed sugars, no processed foods, you have a certain macro count to hit, you can make anything fit that, but somewhere else is going to suffer.
Okay.
Like if you want the chocolate cake, you can't have drinks with dinner and chocolate cake and the appetizer and all the stuff. Like you have to pick something and say, that's going to be my thing, and then make the sacrifices elsewhere.
Okay. So tell us about macros. Make it as simple as you can. What do you mean when you keep saying macros?
So your three macronutrients are protein, fats, and carbs. So that's what all of our foods consist of. That fuel the body, that repair, that build muscle, make your hormones function, organs function properly. All foods are somewhat of a protein, somewhat of a fat, and somewhat of a carb. So you would have a set number per the amount of calories that you can eat. And somebody like me would take your activity level, what your goals are, your types of workouts, like what all you're doing, and I figure out your like maintenance calories. And if we're trying to lose weight, we would put you into a deficit. And then if you're trying to gain weight, we'd put you into a surplus. You can't be super lean and try to gain muscle at the same time. That's not how that works. You have to bulk and then cut, or just kind of see what your body will more naturally do. Like, you don't want to just force yourself into this crazy body that it's not happy at either. Your body's happy at a certain
how does one determine what their macros are? Because it sounds like there's 3 categories basically: fats, carbs, proteins. How do I know what those numbers are?
You hire somebody like me. I paid a lot of money and did a lot of education to learn these things. I mean, you can Google it. And you can put it.
How do you determine what that is for your clients?
I take all those things into account. I take your activity level, what you're wanting to do, what your body weight is currently, what you want to be at, what your diet already looks like, your age, your body, your size, kind of. It's very much a little bit of a like an ebb and flow a little bit. Like, you kind of have this idea, and then you got to see through other factors if we're kind of on the right direction, or if I need to make a big change now, or if I just need to kind of like keep you barely moving along.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
So let's do a little role playing here. You got a new client, right? They say, hey, I don't know, they work at a desk. Like much of America, they're overweight. They're moderately active, according to them. Not necessarily according to what they actually do, but according to them, they're moderately active. Let's say they want to lose 20 pounds. They've been in a gym in that they've gone to the YMCA or something a couple of times. What does an onboarding process look like for that type of client? And they want to lose 30 pounds.
For somebody like that, you have to be very upfront with them and say that they're not going to lose 30 pounds in a month or 2 months or 3 months. It's going to be a long time. So getting them to be aware that you have to basically make that goal smaller and more attainable for right now. So you give them that they want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, Sharon, we'll help you lose 30 pounds. We have to break it down a little bit farther to get you into a more attainable goal. So that whether that be like for our weekly check-ins, we got to get you also eating more. Somebody like that probably doesn't know even what they're eating. They say like, oh, I have enough protein. I have chicken with my lunch, 6 ounces for the whole day. So I typically would just get them eating a protein, a fat, and a carb of their choice, keeping the amounts like palm size so they can kind of get into the flow of that. If I give them the option to track their food, like if they have a scale and they have the ability to weigh it out, that's ideal. That'll be the most accurate. But if somebody is very general, I just want to lose some weight, have a protein, a fat, and a carb. Try to keep it a lean protein. Your carbs need to really come from like vegetables, raw vegetables. When you cook them, the composition changes a little bit, so you have to just eat more. Mm-hmm. The higher fiber is going to be a lot better too, so making sure they have some sort of fibrous foods as well to help digestion. And then their fats, keeping them away from more of the processed fats, keeping it more avocado oil, coconut oil, olive coconut oil, and whatever other more natural oils there are. You can get them from avocados, whatever you want to do. So keeping it to where it's not so much of a math equation for them. Getting them.
They're already dieting. You don't want to have to do math too.
Getting somebody to weigh themselves is typically a very difficult thing. Even if even for myself, I haven't weighed myself in like 2 months. So mentally, for me to go weigh myself now and associate it with a number, people hold a lot of weight in the number that they weigh for some reason, because of society and whatever. So I get a lot of people that say I'm however tall and I weigh this much. Now I want to be 120 pounds. I'm a 5'7" female. Like, good luck.
It's not gonna happen.
Your body won't do that. It could, but it won't be very happy. So,
well, here, I want to cut in for a sec here. You said it a couple of times. Well, actually, just to backtrack, I had a couple people ask, who is this? So for those of you who joined, again, Dr. Taylor, Chiropractic. This is Calin. She is the owner of CrossFit Beardown, certified CrossFit coach and a nutrition specialist. Basically, we're talking about how to not get fat while we're quarantined, more or less. So perfect little segue. You said a couple of times, and this might not make sense to some people. You said sometimes people are going to come to you, they're going to want to lose weight, and you're going to make them eat more. Why that doesn't compute for some people? Can you explain that?
So it's not that I'm going to make them eat more. It's just that I'm going to make them be aware of what they're eating. Like I had said a little bit earlier, is in college I ate pretty good, but I didn't realize what I was like, the composition of what I was actually eating, until I put it into my fitness pal, wrote it down, whatever you want to do, because then I saw like, whoa, I really don't eat enough protein. Like I have some protein with my meals. Some are more than others, but like I was severely under eating my protein, and most people severely under eat in their protein. Whether you're trying to gain muscle, lose weight, whatever, they're not eating enough. And they're eating a lot of carbs, whether that be, I have a lot of fruits, or I have a lot of like rice or whatever. Like you're just it's very easy to overeat those things, even fats as well. So getting somebody to just be aware of what they're eating, especially when they first start out, get them to weigh themselves. If they don't want to weigh themselves, just keep in mind that there are other markers for progress. So like how your clothes are fitting. If you do work out, how do your workouts feel? How are you sleeping? How do other people view you a little bit? Because you kind of want to, like if somebody says like, oh, you look like you've lost weight, don't be like, oh, no, I feel awful, because they don't see you as often as you see yourself. So being able to take that and say, oh, like somebody's noticing that I am making changes, even if they don't know I am. But a big one usually is like how your clothes are fitting and how your workouts feel, or how you feel during the day if you don't really work out. This can work for somebody who does not necessarily work out. Just eating better foods, eating less processed foods. I don't know if you've noticed, but the grocery stores, the produce section is pretty full. I haven't seen rice, pasta, or like canned items in probably 2 weeks. Like we haven't been able to go get the kids spaghetti noodles for 2 weeks. So, guess who's eating?
There's plenty of squash
spiralized zucchini.
We are. Okay, so kind of going forward into this. We talked about basically setting up the diet, and again, diet's a terrible word. More of, changing the lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. So, what does your day-to-day stuff look like? Like, if anybody even follows, Aspire Chiropractic for a couple of days, they'll realize obviously I meal prep. But what is your, I guess, how do you eat? How do you prepare it? Do you do it all one day like I do? Do you do something different? What's it look like for you?
I used to do it all on a Sunday because I work a couple jobs, and working with you, it was just easier if I had my one day and I cooked all my proteins, and a lot of my vegetables are pretty easy to throw in the microwave and steam them or eat them raw or whatever. You kind of got to find the way that you like things, because if you like it, you'll be more inclined to just continue with it. Versus if you're having to really force yourself to do something, it becomes a little bit harder to stay adhering to it. Excuse me.
Rona.
I know. But for me, for like a year and a half, I was eating the same chicken salad that I would make. I would throw a chicken breast in the crock pot, or a couple of chicken breasts, put some light mayonnaise, celery, pickles, grapes. That's how I grew up eating it. So I would just make that in a container, weigh out all of that, and then weigh out my portion for each meal. I would have some sweet potato, Brussels sprouts, whatever I wanted to do. Dinners are typically always the same. Right now, since my priorities have changed, I'm not as macro strict with it, I guess. But typically, as a household, we cook a couple chicken breasts and we shred them in the crock pot or the instant pot, whichever people have. People, I feel like right now, have one or the other. I used to grill them too. So I would just cook my meats. And then I have a little bit of time now where I can either throw something in the microwave again and just steam it, or cook it in the oven or whatever. I'm very basic. So I have like sweet potatoes, chicken, most of my dinners lately, well, not right now, but when we're not quarantined, have been egg whites, bell peppers. Trader Joe's has really good chicken sausages of different flavors, so I like those. I do jalapenos, hot sauce. If I want to put like lettuce under it and make it a salad, we like breakfast food at our house, so there's a lot of that. We typically just eat the same thing over and over, and then maybe twice a week we'll make something else.
So you typically do the meals maybe a day or two ahead of time now, whereas in the past you used to do it kind of all spread out, or rather do it in one day.
More on like a Sunday. I would grill all my chicken, grill my vegetables, and do all of that, and then like put individual containers for each day in there. And that would take me so long. And now with the business and going to work and doing all this stuff, I don't really have the time. So I've found it a little bit more time friendly for me to bulk my chicken or my meat or whatever, and then grab that, weigh it out, and then just add my stuff that way.
Okay. We got a question. So when it comes to your meats, do you recommend more of a lean meat, or is it really just kind of, whatever tastes good?
The fattier the meat, the better it's going to taste. So
True.
It's kind of like I always recommend if someone's trying to lose weight, stay away from those kind of meats. Stick with your lean meats, fish, egg whites, like a grilled chicken, baked chicken breast typically, but you can get away with that a little bit more. Chicken, turkey, turkey burgers, away from beef unless you want like the full like 99%, but that kind of tastes like crap anyway. It tastes like beady meat.
So the question actually goes a little deeper. So fat versus, or not fat meat, but fattier versus more lean meat. Do you recommend getting your fats from the meat like that, or do you recommend more adding them in more of a coconut oil or a butter kind of thing?
It's one of those things, like it depends on your goals entirely, and that's what sucks about this, is like it depends on you. But I don't like to cook with oils. I cook with like a coconut oil spray because I would rather eat my fat than cook with it, if that makes sense. So like, because I count like 80% of the time, I would rather just use a coconut oil spray that's like 0 calories for the spray, and then get a less lean ground turkey for our meal or my chicken or whatever, because I have such a low fat that it's easy to run out. It's really preference though, but it makes things taste a lot better. So if you prefer to have like the fattier meats, like for your dinners, for example, then you would have leaner stuff throughout the day.
Okay.
Or whatever, like, because it's really easy to overeat all of that stuff. But it's one of those things, like if you're somebody who follows the more keto style or whatever, then you're aware that your carbs are very, very low, but your fats are higher. So it really wouldn't matter how much you had.
Interesting. Okay, so kind of bringing this back down to a basic level. So client comes to you, figure out their macros and stuff like that. The next thing out of their mouth is, I don't know how to cook.
That's okay. The grocery store has pre-chopped and frozen foods available for people like that. I always give my clients, like, if they have Instagrams and Facebooks, I always share my favorite profiles that I really like. So people who have given me like recipe inspirations or whatever, I found a lot of stuff on Instagram and Facebook. But if I have somebody that doesn't really cook, they have pre-made stuff, if that's easier for you to do it that way. Like somebody after a long day at work, the last thing that you want to do, 9 out of 10 people, the last thing you want to do after coming home is completely from scratch cook an entire dinner. Yes or no?
True. Heard that.
So if it would make you adhere to your diet a little bit easier, if you found that spending the extra $1 at the grocery store got you the pre-chopped vegetables, you got the chicken breast that's like cooked and you really just have to heat it up, and there's not anything added to it, then you have vegetables and chicken. That's a pretty lean meal, and it's not unhealthy. There's no sauces, not a lot of stuff added to it, and all you have to do is put it in the microwave. versus like having to cut all your vegetables, or if that's something you need to do beforehand, like pre-cook your chicken and.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this might be decent because we already went through kind of what your meal prep is like, whereas and correct me if I'm wrong again, you basically do all the meats on one day, and then more of the fresher ingredients, you kind of do those on a day-to-day kind of thing. Mine is similar, except basically I do everything on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who ever, again, if you've ever followed our page, every Sunday I post my meal prep, and I'll do, usually it's 2, sometimes 3 meats, a chicken, a beef or a pork, and then like a shrimp. And, you talk about, you'll eat the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
One thing that I have made every week for the past 2 years has been fajitas, because I can always have fajitas. But then other than that, I'll throw stuff in there. Lately I've been on a riced cauliflower kick, and you can turn riced cauliflower into anything.
Yes.
So like I do like a poor man's dirty rice, or maybe even a northerner's version of dirty rice is probably a better description of it. I'll always do like some sort of stir fry in a sense, because I've really figured out that it comes down to the seasoning. That's how you make stuff different, because the ingredients are literally all the same. It's just a matter of what are you seasoning them with to make it taste, Mexican or Asian or Creole or something like that. But we had a question kind of going in here of, I don't know where to begin. So I started off, I think it was like Chelsea's Messy Apron, I think is the first website I ever remember looking at. And she had this blog of just one pan recipes. And it was, you throw some peppers on there, you throw some sweet potatoes on there, you throw a couple of chicken breasts, and then you just drizzle it in olive oil, you throw it in the oven till it's done. And for the beginning, that worked. But the stuff would get kind of mushy, especially the vegetables and like the chicken kind of
That's why I quit doing the whole like wait till Thursday, because I would not eat the food because I was like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
But again, too, so then what I would do is I started, that was where I started, but then I started separating it and doing different things. I would do some stuff on a grill. I would do some stuff in the oven, or I'd do some stuff on the stovetop. And, you talk about, if you have a client that goes, I don't know how to cook. So you'll give them inspiration. Well, here's some great pages to follow. Plug Aspire Chiropractic.
Yeah.
But like literally, I would get my inspiration from, I'd watch, what's that? Guys Grocery Games. What are they making on there? Or Reed Drummond up in Oklahoma. Watch her on a Saturday morning. Oh, I want to do some of that. We'll give that a shot. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose.
Yes.
But again, it's really just a matter of finding out, what is inspiring and stuff you want to try. But so with all that, we did have a question come in from Instagram when we were promoting this earlier in the week. What is your motivation? What keeps you on track, or what pulls you back on track after you decide to binge on a bag of candy or something?
Like me personally, or just people?
Well, you personally, because obviously it's going to be different from everybody out there.
Yeah.
What keeps you personally on track?
Like lately, what just keeps me I love this, so it's hard for me to go like, oh, I have to go back to the gym or whatever. And if I eat really poorly, it makes this really hard. So what keeps me motivated to eat healthy is, I don't know, I want to look good naked for like a really long time, and I want my body to work really well. So if I fuel it properly and I do what I'm supposed to do, like it all follows. So if I start to eat really bad, then I don't feel very good, and my workouts start to feel really bad, and then I don't perform as well, and then work suffers because I'm just kind of like meh. It matters what you put into your body, and it matters how you take care of it. So that's my motivation. I want to be doing this a long time. I'm 25. Like, I want to still be doing this. I want to look really good when I'm a little bit older, and I want to be able to stay out of hospitals and keep my body functioning at 100%. Like, that's my motivation, is that I'm going to be healthy for a really long time. I want to.
Okay, so here's a question then. And this is actually I thought of for myself because obviously again we all have different motivation. For me personally, and my wife can certainly attest to this, I am an absolute emotional eater. It's been my thing for a long time. During chiropractic school, I probably kept Taco Bell in business. But with that being said, I see a lot of stuff on there, especially from like, the influencers, if you will, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Talking about, you don't eat food for enjoyment, you eat it for fuel. I can't wrap my head around that statement. What's your take on that? That you don't eat for enjoyment, you eat it for fuel.
If you don't enjoy it, then like if you fizzle, you're gonna fizzle out. Like you only have so much like brain power and willpower to like keep focused. If you don't enjoy something at all, then why do it? Like you won't. You will just stop. Like some meals, like would I rather have something way better? Yeah, but I don't have to like hold my nose and swallow it. Like no, nobody's telling you it has to be like that. That's why it's like find something that you enjoy that works for you. The people that are like, oh, it's fuel and you don't need to enjoy it, those are probably the people that eat brown rice or white rice and unseasoned chicken because they want to go do a physique competition or whatever. And that's like, you don't get to enjoy anything when you do stuff like that. You don't.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So, but they like that, and that's fine. That takes a lot more like willpower and focus than I have. I want to enjoy things sometimes.
Sometimes. you and I both. Okay, so we're up over a half an hour here. The American attention span is far less than what we've gone. So if someone has more questions for you, if they want to get in contact with you, if they want to see what an onboarding process is like, how do they get in contact with you? What's the best way to do that and kind of follow up should someone want to do so?
My Instagram or the gym Instagram is great. Facebook has been a little finicky with like, especially if it's somebody that I'm not friends with or that I don't typically like interact with. It just kind of puts them into a, like you have a message, but we're not going to tell you until you go look for it. So so Instagram is probably the best way to do that. Email is fine too, but.
What's your Instagram? What are they looking for?
Either Calin Elizabeth, Calin Elizabeth, or CrossFit Beardown. So CrossFit BEAR down.
Cool. Well, everybody who's watching still, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Calin, absolute pleasure. I think you dropped some fantastic knowledge.
Thanks
other than that, yeah. Anybody has any questions, by all means, look her up. She's an absolute rock star at what she does, whether it's coaching, nutritional consulting. I mean, there's a reason we had her on here, and it's I think it's very apparent. So again, Calin, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Everybody that's watching, thank you very much. Oh, phone's ringing. All right. Well, big gulps, eh? See you later.
Bye.